Imagine a bustling Upper West Side apartment in New York City, where a seemingly devoted nanny named Yoselyn Ortega cares for two innocent children, Lucia and Leo Krim. It's October 25th, 2012, a crisp autumn afternoon. Marina Krim, the mother, leaves for a swim lesson with her third child, trusting Ortega as she has for years. But beneath the facade of normalcy lurks a darkness no one could foresee. Ortega, a 50-year-old immigrant from the Dominican Republic, had been struggling with financial woes and mental health issues. Whispers of resentment toward her employer simmered, fueled by long hours and perceived slights. As the day unfolds, the home turns from a sanctuary into a scene of unimaginable horror. What drives a caregiver to betray the very trust placed in her? Stay tuned as we unravel this chilling tale of betrayal and loss. The Krim family's world is about to shatter forever. Yoselyn Ortega's journey to America was one of hope. Arriving in 2008 to support her family back home, she quickly became the Krim's nanny, earning praise for her reliability. But cracks began to show. Arguments over money, erratic behavior noticed by neighbors. Marina Krim later testified about Ortega's strange actions, like hiding toys or speaking oddly. Psychiatrists would reveal Ortega's battles with depression and auditory hallucinations, voices urging her toward destruction. Yet no one intervened in time. On that fateful day, as Marina enjoyed her routine, Ortega's mind spiraled. She picked up a kitchen knife, her hands trembling with a mix of rage and delusion. The children, playful and unaware, became victims of her unraveling psyche. This story isn't just about murder. It's a warning about the hidden struggles of those we entrust with our most precious lives. How could this happen in a loving home? In the quiet of the apartment, Ortega led 6-year-old Lucia and 2-year-old Leo to the bathroom. With cold precision, she stabbed them repeatedly, the children's cries echoing briefly before silence fell. Blood stained the tub as she arranged their bodies, then turned the blade on herself in a failed suicide attempt. Marina returned to a nightmare. Lights off, water running, and the gruesome discovery that shattered her soul. She killed my best friends, Marina screamed in court years later. Ortega's motive? A toxic brew of jealousy, financial stress, and severe mental illness. She claimed the devil made her do it, but evidence pointed to premeditation, sharpened knives ready. This act of horror wasn't impulsive. It was the culmination of unspoken grievances. As sirens wailed outside, a city's heart broke for the innocent, lost in a moment of madness. The brutality defies comprehension. Police arrived to find Ortega alive but wounded, confessing haltingly to the murders. Investigators pieced together her deteriorating mental state through family interviews and medical records. No prior criminal history, but signs of psychosis were evident. Hallucinations, paranoia. The Krims, devastated, cooperated fully, revealing Ortega's recent odd behaviors like forgetting tasks or mumbling to herself. Autopsies confirmed the children died from multiple stab wounds. A detail that horrified the public. Media frenzy ensued, dubbing her the killer nanny. Detectives ruled out external motives, focusing on her internal demons. As evidence mounted, Ortega's insanity plea emerged, but prosecutors argued she knew right from wrong. This investigation exposed the vulnerabilities in hiring caregivers, sparking debates on background checks and mental health support. The truth emerged slowly, but the pain lingered eternally. Justice was on the horizon. The 2018 trial gripped the nation, with Ortega facing first-degree murder charges. Her defense claimed insanity, citing severe depression and voices commanding her actions. Witnesses, including psychiatrists, testified to her delusions, while the prosecution painted her as resentful and calculating. Marina Krim's heart-wrenching testimony described finding her children's bodies, bringing the courtroom to tears. "Why did you do this?" she confronted Ortega. Jurors deliberated for days, rejecting the insanity defense and convicting her on all counts. The verdict: guilty of 2 murders. Sentencing brought life without parole, the judge calling it pure evil. Ortega showed little remorse, muttering incoherently. This case highlighted flaws in mental health laws, questioning when intervention could have saved lives. The Krim's bravery in court inspired many, turning personal tragedy into advocacy for child safety. But closure remained elusive. Today, Yoselyn Ortega rots in prison, her name synonymous with betrayal. The Krim family founded the Lulu and Leo Fund, channeling grief into art therapy for children, honoring their lost angels. Marina's blog, Life After the Unthinkable, shares raw emotions, helping others heal. This case reshaped nanny hiring practices, with apps now offering thorough vetting. Yet, questions linger. Could therapy have prevented this? Experts debate caregiver burnout and cultural pressures on immigrants. Ortega's story warns of silent suffering, urging empathy and vigilance. As New York moves on, the Krim's resilience shines, proving love endures even in darkness. Remember Lucia and Leo, not for how they died, but for the joy they brought. This tale of horror reminds us, trust but verify, for evil can hide in the most familiar faces. Their legacy lives on. Picture a young British au pair, Louise Woodward, just 19, arriving in America full of dreams in 1996. Hired by the Eapen family in Newton, Massachusetts, she cared for their 2 sons, including 8-month-old Matthew. Deborah and Sunil Eapen, busy doctors, trusted her implicitly. But on February 4th, 1997, a frantic 911 call shattered the illusion. Matthew stopped breathing under her watch, sparking one of the most controversial trials in history. Was it shaken baby syndrome or a tragic accident? Woodward, wide-eyed and innocent-looking, became the face of a media storm. Accusations flew, frustration from a party-loving teen clashing with parental duties. As the baby fought for life, suspicions mounted. This story dives into cultural clashes, medical debates, and the thin line between guilt and innocence. Hold on tight. The twists will leave you questioning everything. What really happened that day? Louise Woodward left her Cheshire village for adventure, joining an au pair agency. Matched with the Eppens, she embraced the role but chafed at rules like curfews. Neighbors noted her youthful energy, but tensions brewed, complaints about her late nights and rough handling of the baby. Medical experts later suggested prior injuries, hinting at ongoing abuse. Woodward denied it all, claiming she loved the children. On that winter day, alone with Matthew, she says he choked after a bath. Panicking, she shook him lightly to revive him, or so she claimed. But doctors found retinal hemorrhaging and a skull fracture, classic signs of violent shaking. Her background, a stable family, no red flags, yet the pressure of isolation in a foreign land may have cracked her composure. This backdrop sets the stage for a tragedy that divided nations. The truth hides in the details. In a moment of alleged rage, Woodward shook baby Matthew violently, prosecutors argued, causing fatal brain swelling. He lingered in a coma for 5 days before dying on February 9, 1997. autopsy revealed a 2.5-inch skull fracture, old wrist injury, evidence of prior harm? Woodward insisted it was rough play or an accident weeks earlier. But her call to the Appens was calm, delaying emergency response. "He just stopped breathing," she said, but inconsistencies piled up. This wasn't her first issue. Agency warnings about her attitude surfaced. The crime, involuntary manslaughter or murder? The public split. Some saw a monster, others a scapegoat for working parents. Matthew's tiny life ended in agony, sparking outrage. Woodward's tears in custody fueled debates. Remorse or performance? This act exposed the dangers of inexperienced caregivers in high-stress homes. Horror unfolded quietly. Police arrested Woodward days after Matthew's death, charging her with assault, later upgraded to murder. Investigators scrutinized her story, finding discrepancies in timelines and injury explanations. Medical testimony clashed. Prosecution experts cited abuse. Defense claimed natural causes or pre-existing conditions. The Appens cooperated, heartbroken, revealing Woodward's dissatisfaction with her role. Media dubbed it the Nanny trial, with British support rallying for her innocence. Forensics showed no fingerprints, but brain trauma consistent with shaking. Woodward's polygraph? Inconclusive. As evidence mounted, her team pivoted to cultural misunderstandings, American parenting versus British norms. This probe highlighted au pair program flaws, like inadequate training. The world watched as facts emerged, painting a picture of negligence or malice. Justice loomed, but truth remained murky. The battle lines were drawn. The 1997 trial in Cambridge, Massachusetts was a spectacle. Woodward faced second-degree murder charges. Her defense argued accidental head bump during resuscitation. Star witnesses, doctors debating shaken baby science, now questioned today. The Appens testified emotionally, accusing her of roughness. Woodward took the stand, sobbing, "I did nothing to harm that baby." Jurors convicted her of second-degree murder, sentencing 15 years to life. But in a stunning twist, Judge Hiller Zobel reduced it to involuntary manslaughter, citing overreach, and freed her after 279 days served. Appeals flew. Britain celebrated, America fumed. This verdict sparked reforms in child abuse laws and au pair vetting. Woodward's case became a benchmark for judicial mercy amid public outcry. Was justice served or denied? The controversy raged on. Louise Woodward returned to England, marrying and becoming a lawyer, shunning the spotlight. The Appens founded a foundation against child abuse, turning pain into prevention. Modern science questions shaken baby diagnoses, prompting calls to revisit her case. Woodward insists innocence, living quietly with her family. This saga influenced media trials and transatlantic relations, with documentaries still debating guilt. Lessons learned: better screening for caregivers, awareness of postpartum stress on parents. Matthew's memory endures in advocacy, reminding us of fragility in trust. Whether villain or victim, Woodward's story cautions against quick judgments. As years pass, the Appens heal, but scars remain. This tale of a nanny's fall from grace urges vigilance in childcare. For one moment can change everything forever. Echoes linger today. Step back to Victorian England, where poverty forced desperate mothers to surrender their babies to baby farmers, like Amelia Dyer. Born in 1837, this nurse-turned-monster promised loving homes for illegitimate infants for a fee. But behind her matronly smile hid a serial killer who murdered hundreds. In 1896, a bargeman fished a parcel from the Thames, a tiny corpse with tape around its neck. This discovery unraveled Dyer's web of deceit. Operating in Bristol and Reading, she advertised in newspapers, preying on vulnerable women. As bodies surfaced, horror spread. Was she a product of her era's shame or pure evil? This gripping narrative explores the dark underbelly of 19th century society, where unwanted children became disposable. Brace yourself. The scale of her crimes will shock you to your core. The river held her secrets. Amelia Dyer's early life was marked by tragedy. Her mother's mental illness and death shaped her cold demeanor. Trained as a nurse, she saw opportunity in baby farming, amid strict morals shunning unwed mothers. By the 1870s, she took in infants, pocketing adoption fees, then starved or strangled them to cut costs. Relocating often to evade suspicion, she used aliases like Mrs. Harding. Neighbors recalled her with prams full of babies that mysteriously vanished. Opium-laced quietners silenced cries, but death was swift. Dyer's motive: greed, amassing wealth from despair. One survivor later spoke of her cruelty. As the Industrial Revolution boomed, her operations grew, exploiting societal neglect. This background reveals a woman forged in hardship, turning pain into profit through unimaginable acts. Evil brewed silently. Dyer's method was chillingly efficient. Advertise, collect fees, then murder. She strangled babies with white tape, dumping bodies in rivers wrapped in parcels. Estimates suggest 200 to 400 victims over 30 years, though only a fraction recovered. In 1896, she killed 6-week-old Doris Marmon and another infant, their bodies found in her carpet bag. No remorse. She viewed them as burdens. One ad read, "Good home for baby, no after premium." Mothers, relieved, never knew the fate. Dyer's daughter aided occasionally, but fear kept her silent. This spree wasn't passion-driven. It was business, cold and calculated. As corpses piled in the Thames, a pattern emerged. Same tape, same wrapping. The ogress of reading earned her name through sheer volume of innocent lives snuffed out. Darkness claimed the helpless. The net closed when a parcel's address traced to Dyer. Police raided her home, finding baby clothes, receipts, and a stench of decay. 6 bodies recovered from the river, autopsies showing strangulation. Dyer confessed to some but denied others, claiming angels took them. Witnesses, mothers who paid her, pawnbrokers with pawned baby items. No accomplices charged, though her daughter was questioned. Media sensationalized, dubbing her a monster. Investigators linked deaths across cities, but poor records hindered full count. This probe exposed baby farming's horrors, leading to calls for regulation. Dyer's calm demeanor in custody unnerved detectives. She sang hymns, feigning piety. The evidence was damning. Tape matches, witness testimonies. Justice for the voiceless babies finally beckoned. Truth floated to the surface. Dyer's 1896 trial at the Old Bailey lasted mere days. Charged with one murder as a sample, she pleaded guilty but insane. Defense cited her asylum stays, but prosecution proved lucidity and profit motive. Witnesses detailed her operations. The judge called it heartless cruelty. Jury convicted in minutes, sentencing death by hanging. Dyer remained stoic, writing a confession admitting dozens of killings. Public outrage peaked. Crowds cheered her execution on June 10, 1896. This case spurred the Infant Life Protection Act, tightening adoption laws. Debates raged on women's roles and poverty's toll. Dyer's swift justice contrasted her long reign of terror, but it closed a gruesome chapter. Her story became folklore, warning of unchecked greed. The gallows awaited. Amelia Dyer's execution ended her spree, but her legacy haunts child welfare reforms. Modern adoption systems owe much to the outrage her crimes sparked. Books and films retell her tale, exploring Victorian hypocrisies. Estimates of victims vary, but her as Britain's worst serial killer endure. Survivors' descendants seek closure, while historians debate her sanity. This case reminds us of societal blind spots to the vulnerable. Dyer's grave is unmarked, her name infamous. As we reflect, remember the forgotten infants, nameless but not worthless. Her story urges protection for the innocent, ensuring no baby farmer rises again. In today's world, vigilance against exploitation continues her dark lesson. The Thames flows on, but the echoes of tiny cries demand we never forget. Justice at last. Meet Nanny Doss, the giggling granny, a seemingly jolly Alabama housewife whose laughter hid a deadly secret. Born in 1905, she married 5 times, but love turned lethal. From the 1920s to 1954, she poisoned relatives with arsenic-laced treats, killing 11, including husbands and children. Her arrest came after her 5th husband's suspicious death, unraveling decades of murder. Why the grin during confessions? It was fun, she quipped. This tale weaves romance magazine obsessions with cold-blooded killings, set against rural America's hardships. Doss, with her wire-rimmed glasses and apron, defied serial killer stereotypes. As we delve into her twisted mind, prepare for shocks. Family bonds snapped like poisoned prunes. Her story challenges assumptions about female killers. Stay hooked. The body count rises fast. Laughter masked horror. Nanny's childhood was abusive. A strict father, head injury from a train accident causing lifelong headaches and blackouts. Married at 16 to escape, her first union bore 4 daughters, but 2 died mysteriously after eating candy. Blaming grief, she divorced and remarried, pattern repeating. Obsessed with true romance stories, she sought perfect love via Lonely Hearts ads, poisoning flawed mates. Early signs, mood swings, unexplained illnesses in kin. Grandchildren and her mother fell victim to. Doss moved states, evading suspicion in an era of lax forensics. Her motive? Insurance money and freedom from burdens. This foundation of trauma bred a killer who baked death into pies. As husbands dropped, whispers grew, but her charm disarmed doubts. The giggling facade cracked eventually. Poison brewed in her heart. Doss's method: rat poison in coffee or prunes, causing agonizing deaths mistaken for natural causes. She killed 4 husbands, 2 children, 2 grandchildren, her mother, 2 sisters, and a mother-in-law. Samuel Doss, her last, died in 1954 after a poisoned cake. His autopsy revealing massive arsenic. No rage, just calculated elimination of annoyances. 1 grandson died from a pin in his brain, suspicious. Doss collected life insurance, funding her next romance. Her crimes spanned decades, bodies buried quietly. Victims suffered vomiting, convulsions, but doctors cited food poisoning or flu. This spree wasn't impulsive, it was a lifestyle, giggling at funerals adding macabre twist. Family trusted her nurturing image, blind to the venom within. The jolly Black Widow wove a web of death. Sweetness turned lethal. Suspicion peaked with Samuel's death. His doctor, noting quick recovery then relapse, ordered autopsy. Arsenic levels off the charts led to Doss's arrest. Interrogators faced her cheerful confessions. "I killed them all." Exhumations confirmed poison in multiple bodies. No accomplices, she acted alone. Investigators traced her path through Alabama, Oklahoma, North Carolina, insurance payouts funding moves. Media frenzy dubbed her giggling granny. Her laughs during questioning, chilling. Family survivors provided timelines, recalling odd illnesses. Forensics, Primitive then, relied on chemical tests proving guilt. This probe exposed rural oversight in deaths, sparking better protocols. Doss's nonchalance baffled all. She viewed killings as practical solutions. The net tightened, revealing a monster in Grandma's clothing. Truth poisoned the air. In 1955, Doss pleaded guilty to Samuel's murder, avoiding death penalty due to gender norms. Sentenced to life, she giggled through proceedings, detailing recipes for death. No insanity defense, she knew her actions. Prosecutors highlighted 11 victims, but charged only one. Public horrified, yet fascinated. Magazines she loved now featured her. Judge noted her remorselessness. This trial shifted views on female killers, proving they could be as ruthless. Appeals failed. She spent years in prison, charming guards with stories. Her case influenced poison detection laws. Doss died in 1965 of leukemia, unrepentant. Justice came, but too late for many. This courtroom drama exposed hidden domestic dangers, forever changing how we see harmless elders. Laughter echoed in defeat. Nanny Doss's legacy endures in true crime lore, inspiring books and podcasts on overlooked female serialists. Her story warns of trauma's long shadows and romance ideals' perils. Modern forensics might have caught her sooner, highlighting progress. Survivors rebuilt, but scars remain. Doss challenged stereotypes, showing killers in everyday guises. Psychological analyses cite her head injury and abuse as factors, but choice prevailed. Today, her giggling image reminds us to question charm. As we reflect, honor the victims, forgotten in her notoriety. This tale urges vigilance in families, detecting subtle poisons of the mind. Doss's end brought peace, but her crimes echo. Evil can lurk behind the sweetest smile. Remember and prevent. The grin fades. Enter the chilling world of Janine Jones, a Texas pediatric nurse dubbed the Angel of Death. Born in 1950, she worked in hospitals during the 1970s-80s, where infants under her care mysteriously died. Up to 60 children perished, injected with drugs to create emergencies she heroically resolved, or so she claimed. Her 1984 conviction for one murder and injury exposed a pattern of horror. Why? Munchausen by proxy, craving attention as a savior. This narrative uncovers hospital oversights and a killer's twisted need for drama. Jones, with her confident demeanor, fooled colleagues until statistics screamed foul. As we explore, feel the tension in neonatal wards where trust turned deadly. This story grips with medical intrigue and betrayal. Hold your breath. The body count is staggering. Healing hands hid poison. Adopted into a chaotic family, Jones endured loss. Siblings died young, fueling her nursing passion or pathology. Licensed in 1977, she excelled in pediatrics, but craved chaos. At Bexar County Hospital, death rates spiked on her shifts. Colleagues noted her excitement during codes, predicting crises accurately, too accurately. Early red flags, missing drugs, unexplained seizures in babies. Jones's motive? Hero worship, injecting succinylcholine or heparin to cause heart stops or bleeding, then reviving for praise. Personal life? Turbulent. Divorces, custody battles, mirrored her professional mayhem. This backdrop paints a woman compelled by control, turning wards into her stage. As infants suffered, suspicion simmered, but fear of lawsuits delayed action. The angel's wings were clipped eventually. Danger lurked in scrubs. Jones's technique: tamper with IVs, overdosing on muscle relaxants or anticoagulants. Chelsea McClellan, 15 months, died in 1982 after a routine shot caused seizures. Jones injected succinylcholine. Dozens more, babies convulsing, hearts failing under her watch. No overt malice, just engineered emergencies for acclaim. When revival failed, death ensued. Clinics in Kerrville saw 47 codes in months, far above norms. Jones moved jobs, trail of bodies following. Victims, innocent tots, trusting parents devastated. This wasn't random. It was systematic, feeding her ego. One survivor bore lifelong disabilities. The crimes exposed nursing vulnerabilities, where one rogue could wreak havoc. Jones's calm amid chaos masked her as the cause. Horror in healing halls, lives hung by a syringe. Alarm bells rang when stats showed 20-fold death increase. Investigations began in 1982. Missing vials, witness accounts piled up. Jones fired but hired elsewhere. Lax checks. Grand jury indicted her for Chelsea's murder after toxin traces. Exhumations revealed drugs in others. No accomplices, she solo operated. Parents testified to odd behaviors, like Jones's possessiveness over babies. CDC probed, estimating 46 suspicious deaths. Media storm highlighted hospital negligence. Jones denied all, claiming coincidence. Evidence, pharmacy logs, eyewitnesses seeing injections. This scrutiny reformed hiring, monitoring in healthcare. The probe's depth uncovered a serial killer in white, shaking medical trust. Justice pursued the fallen angel. Truth injected clarity. Trials in 1984. Guilty of murder and injury. Sentenced 99 and 60 years concurrently. Defense argued no proof, but toxicology damned her. In 2017, facing release via old laws, new charges for another baby's murder. Guilty plea, life added. Parents' emotional testimonies swayed juries. Jones showed defiance, no remorse. This case pioneered Munchausen recognition in courts. Appeals on evidence failed. Her imprisonment sparked nursing ethics debates. In 2020, more sentences ensured she stays behind bars. Justice evolved with science, honoring tiny victims. The courtroom battles underscored systemic failures, pushing reforms. Jones's downfall marked a win against hidden predators. Verdict: guilty forever. Janine Jones, now 74, remains incarcerated. Her case inspiring docs like The Evidence Room. Reforms: mandatory reporting, drug tracking in hospitals. Victims' families advocate for awareness, turning grief to good. Modern views see her as a classic proxy case, but questions on full tally persist. Jones claims innocence, but evidence silences doubts. This story warns of power abuses in care roles. As medicine advances, vigilance guards the vulnerable. Remember the babies, not as stats, but lives stolen. Jones's legacy: stronger safeguards, eternal caution. In wards today, her shadow prompts double checks. Healing prevails, but scars remind. Angels can fall. Peace for the little ones. Envision a suburban Houston home, where Andrea Yates, a devoted mother of 5, battles unseen demons. On June 20th, 2001, she drowned her children in the bathtub, one by one. Suffering severe postpartum psychosis, she believed she saved them from hell. This heartbreaking story explores mental illness's grip, religious fervor, and systemic failures. Yates, once a high-achieving nurse, spiraled after multiple births without adequate help. Her husband, Rusty, supported more kids despite warnings. As we unpack this tragedy, feel the weight of untreated depression. Media labeled her a monster, but was she? This narrative grips with raw emotion and tough questions. Stay engaged. The line between madness and murder blurs here. A mother's love twisted. Andrea's life started promising. Valedictorian, nurse, married Rusty in 1993. Influenced by fundamentalist preacher Michael Warrenecki, they homeschooled, lived simply. Post-first child, depression hit. After fourth, psychosis with hallucinations. Hospitalized multiple times, she attempted suicide, heard Satan. Doctors warned against more pregnancies, but Rusty insisted. Fifth child Luke triggered final breakdown. Signs: catatonia, Bible mutilation, refusing food, untreated. Voices commanded her to kill, to save kids. This foundation of faith, pressure, and ignored warnings brewed disaster. Family knew her struggles, but downplayed. As isolation grew, so did delusions. The tragedy wasn't sudden. It built over years of neglect. Darkness descended slowly. Alone that morning, Yates filled the tub, calling kids in order. Paul, Luke, John, Mary, then chased Noah. Each struggled briefly before submersion. She laid them on the bed, called 911. I killed my kids. Motive? Delusions they were doomed. Her sacrifice for their salvation. No malice toward them, just warped love. Rusty arrived to horror. Police found composed Yates confessing. The act took 40 minutes, methodical amid madness. This wasn't rage. It was psychotic ritual. Children aged 6 months to 7 years, innocent victims of her illness. Society recoiled, but experts saw classic postpartum psychosis. The crime shook foundations of motherhood myths. Water became weapon. Police arrested Yates immediately. She detailed the drownings calmly. Investigators found no abuse history, but medical records showed severe illness. Psych evaluations confirmed psychosis, schizophrenia. Rusty's interviews revealed ignored doctor advice. No conspiracy, just tragic oversight. Media frenzy focused on her blank stare. Forensics confirmed drownings, no drugs involved. This probe highlighted mental health gaps in Texas. Family testimonies painted a woman lost to delusions. As evidence amassed, insanity plea formed. The investigation shifted blame partly to systems failing mothers. Truth emerged, not evil, but untreated disease. Justice weighed mercy against horror. Layers peeled back. 2002 trial, guilty of capital murder, life sentence. Insanity defense failed due to expert Park Dietz's false testimony about a Law & Order episode. Overturned in 2005. 2006 retrial found not guilty by reason of insanity. Committed to Kerrville State Hospital. Witnesses, psychiatrists debating her awareness. Rusty defended her, blaming doctors. Public split. Some saw monster, others victim. This case reformed insanity laws, emphasizing postpartum awareness. Appeals highlighted media influence. Yates's commitment ensures treatment, not punishment. Justice evolved, recognizing illness over intent. Verdict redeemed. Andrea Yates remains hospitalized, stable on meds, expressing remorse. Rusty remarried, advocates for mental health. Their story inspired laws mandating postpartum screening. Documentaries explore faith's role in tragedy. Yates's case humanizes psychosis, reducing stigma. Lessons: support new mothers, heed warnings. Children remembered in foundations aiding families. As time heals, her tale urges compassion. No winners, but progress in understanding. Remember, illness can devour anyone. Vigilance saves lives. Hope from ashes. In Schenectady, New York, Mary Beth Tinning seemed cursed. 9 children died mysteriously from 1972 to 1985. But was it fate or foul play? Convicted of smothering one, Suspected in all, this mother's story chills with deception and denial. Tinning, a former bus driver, craved sympathy from losses, perhaps Munchausen by proxy. Her arrest in 1986 unveiled a pattern of SIDS deaths. As we dive in, feel the suspense in a home where cribs became coffins. Media called her a serial killer mom. This narrative grips with psychological twists and community blindness. Stay riveted. The facade crumbles dramatically. Grief masked guilt. Born 1942. Tinning's abusive childhood bred insecurity. Married Joe in 1963. Their first child died of natural causes, sparking a spree. 8 more followed, dying young. Early signs: hospital visits for seizures, always on her watch. Doctors suspected abuse but lacked proof. Tinning thrived on attention at funerals, playing grieving mom. Motive: control, pity. Relatives whispered, but fear silenced them. This foundation of trauma turned nurturing toxic. As kids perished, investigations lagged in pre-forensic era. The curse fooled all until patterns emerged. Suspicion simmered. Tinning smothered infants with pillows, staging SIDS or illness. Tammy Lynn, 4 months, died 1985. Autopsy showed asphyxia. Others, convulsions, unexplained failures. No witnesses, but consistency damned her. Adopted child Michael died too, ruling out genetics. Crimes spanned 14 years. Victims her own flesh. This wasn't impulse, it was ritual for validation. Community sympathized initially, but doubts grew. Horror in the ordinary home. Innocence suffocated. Tammy's death prompted probe. Autopsy contradicted Tinning's story. Exhumations revealed no diseases. Interrogations cracked her. Confession to 3 murders. No accomplices, Joe unaware. Evidence: medical records, witness odd behaviors. This exposed child death oversights. Truth dawned painfully. Veil lifted. 1987 trial. Guilty of second-degree murder for Tammy. 20 years to life. Defense claims SIDS. Prosecution proved intent. Witnesses detailed patterns. Paroled 2018 after 31 years. Case influenced child protection laws. Justice partial, but healing began. Conviction bittersweet. Tinning, now free, lives quietly. Case spurred abuse training. Victims remembered in reforms. Story warns of hidden dangers in homes. Legacy: stronger safeguards. Remember the children, lives cut short. Vigilance endures. Peace prevails. In Australia, Kathleen Folbig was branded the nation's worst female killer, convicted of slaying her 4 children from 1989 to 1999. But was it murder or tragedy? Released in 2023 after science proved genetic causes, this story twists with injustice and redemption. Folbig, a working mom, lost Caleb, Patrick, Sarah, Laura to SIDS. Diaries damned her, but doubt grew. As we unravel, feel the courtroom drama and scientific breakthrough. This grips with wrongful conviction horrors. Stay tuned. Truth triumphs late. Innocence imprisoned. Born 1967, abandoned young, Folbig married Craig, bore 4 kids. Each died suddenly, aged weeks to 19 months. Signs: her frustration in diaries. But genetics later showed rare mutation causing heart issues. Motive misread as smothering for relief. This backdrop of loss bred suspicion. Media frenzy sealed her fate initially. Misfortune misinterpreted. Prosecutors claimed suffocation. No direct evidence, but pattern and entries like scary feelings. Children found lifeless in beds. Crimes or natural? Diaries twisted as confessions. Horror in repeated loss, but science says no foul play. Assumptions killed justice. 2001 arrest, diaries, circumstantial case. Inquiry in 2019, genetics in 2021, proved innocence. Pardon 2023, convictions quashed. Probe evolved with DNA. Science saved her. 2003 conviction, 40 years. Appeals failed until genomics. 2023 acquittal. Case reformed evidence standards. Justice delayed, but delivered. Vindication victorious. Fulbig compensated. Advocates for reform. Case highlights science and law. Legacy, caution and judgments. Remember, kids, loss to genes, not malice. Hope from hardship. Truth liberates.